Under Committee Rule 9, we'll now question witnesses under the 5-minute rule, and I'll first recognize myself for 5 minutes. And I just want to thank all our witnesses, really inspiring testimony. I think a big part of what we do on this subcommittee, apart from the policy levers we have, is to showcase just truly tremendous examples of what's going on at school districts across the country. And as Mrs. Gasper just said, what you're doing, what all of you are doing, really provides a national model that I hope can be a source of inspiration in every state. So I do want to just briefly address off the top this issue of the interagency agreements and the Perkins program. And so, Mr. Goetz, you raised a number of criticisms of this, and the ranking member as well, and I don't want to dismiss that. I want to really try to understand it. I think there's probably room for debate whether the chain of authority that you described is exactly as you described it. Certainly, if there are issues accessing the grants, that's something that needs to get worked out quickly. But as far as sort of your broader critique, the problem, as you describe it, seems to be that, well, DOL is going to have to talk to the education department, and they're going to have to call each other back and forth. But kind of the entire premise of CTE programs is we want to have this connection and coordination between schools and industry, right? So what's wrong with sort of recapitulating that or mirroring that in terms of fostering greater coordination between the Department of Education and DOL?
Well, I think in past administrations,
Can you turn on your mic? There you go.
In past administrations, we've had a lot of close coordination between the two departments, including in Mr. Trump's first term. They met constantly, and we were often collaborating on issues where we intersect. Registered apprenticeship is an example of that. In Mr. Trump's first term, the department put out a guide to aligning CTE with apprenticeship. In Mr. Biden's term, we put out a memo about registered apprenticeship being an allowable use of Perkins funds. So we have had that collaboration and cooperation. We don't need to do it through an interagency agreement where we transfer the entire program over to another agency.
All right, well, thank you. Dr. Volzer, thank you very much for your testimony. And the point you made that I think is really important is just the way things are changing so fast in the workplace right now when it comes to AI and robotics and everything else, that you need to sort of have that perspective like in real time in order to have your programs really be serving the needs of our workforce. I guess the challenge is that because things are changing so rapidly, what students learn in CTE programs may quickly, become not applicable to the workforce as it exists 1, 2, 3, 5 years from now. Now, they'll be gaining additional skills once they're in the workforce, but that seems to me like the fundamental challenge is how do we structure these programs in an era where we know that students, once they graduate from them, are going to be in a rapidly evolving workforce?
Thank you for your question. And I think that really is where it comes down to deep integration with local industry and alignment to education. Not only how the programs are designed, but making sure that the skills that are being taught in those classrooms are directly applicable inside the four walls of industry. One of the things that the SME Prime program does specifically is we do a significant amount of research into the industries, the equipment that's being used, the processes that are being used, the new technologies that are being integrated, and make sure that that same exact equipment is inside the walls of the high school so that when they step into that, they are productive day one. They are continuing to learn, and in fact, they're bringing innovation. That is what the next generation of learners, it's not just about the technical skills, it's not just about the academic skills, it's not just about those workplace ready skills, it's the innovation that the next generation is bringing because they are comfortable with technologies, and that is what is inspiring the next adoption of technologies inside our classrooms. And so I would say, to me, this is, while you look at national systemic issues, and we really have to pay attention to our small to medium-sized manufacturers, they often can't step outside their four walls to really engage with academic education leaders. We have to make sure that we're reaching inside those four walls so that we can align and make sure there is that continuous education and skill-ready development.
Very well said, thank you. And I guess that sort of capacity to adapt and innovate within a particular domain is itself sort of the core skill set in many cases that you're trying to teach. Mrs. Rice, just very quickly, I was very excited to read and hear your testimony. I know that we've had big shortages when it comes to cybersecurity, and so I wanted to just ask a little bit more about the pathway, because I think a lot of people think that, well, cybersecurity is just kind of an offshoot of software engineering or some other field. Not true at all, right? So what is sort of the distinct nature of your pathway and the needs that it fills?
My pathway, cybersecurity, I mean, there's a huge skills gap. And there's currently over 600,000 jobs that are open right now across the nation. So personally in my pathway in Virginia, we have a 3-course pathway, including we have an intro class, we have a networking class, and then we have a more advanced class, and it gets the kids prepared for the Security Plus and the Net Plus.
Thank you very much. I'll now recognize the ranking member.